What's up, guys? It's DJ. Welcome to my channel, Gamma Bro Hulk Reviews. Today I have a new pickup. This is a 3 3/4 Incredible Hulk figure that just came out from Hasbro, and I'll show it to you now. Okay, let's see if I can get a better reflection. There we go. So this guy is a fairly new sculpt. He has been the sculpt has probably been out for the last 3 years. This is a reuse sculpt from a previous line called Marvel Strike Force. That was I think a terrible cartoon series. I'm not sure if it ever actually, how long the series lasted. But the cartoon series has probably been out for like, I don't know, a year or two. And the line eventually died out, so they decided to reuse the mold and made this new set. So basically this is just Marvel Avengers line, and they have Cap, Iron Man, Black Panther, Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Thor. I believe there's going to be more series coming out, but that's all they have so far. Now, as for the actual sculpts, I like the packaging. I think it's very bright. It pulls you in. It's a pain to get these off the pegs because you have to pull every individual package off to get to the one you want, which is a pain. I found this specific figure at Target. Now I will show you a loose version. So here is from the Strike Force series. Again, it's the same exact mold. I didn't see any differences. So they just reused the same figure. Again, it's 3 3/4, so it's kind of small. It's about, maybe 4 inches tall. As for the sculpt, Hulk's face is actually pretty good. It's cool how they use like gloss around the eyes and the eyebrows. The hair is pretty cool. Not a bad face sculpt. The sculpt is really cool. I like the back. I like the pants. The proportions, I think the head, looking at it, might be a little small for the body, but I think they're making it like for, to really make his muscles look bigger than they are and make them pop. As for paint, this is basically just green plastic. Again, they painted the gloss on the eyes, the eyebrows, the hair. They painted the pants, just one basic coat of purple. And price, price of this I think is like $10. In today's standards, $10 is $10 for a figure. Better than 25. But again, I would, if you can find it used for $6-7, whatever, definitely pick it up. There's another example of the figure, which this is the Strike Force part of it. So I guess dinosaurs involved. I never actually watched the show, but he has like Triceratops gauntlets that you put on his arms. But again, same. Okay. 2 and 3. So here are the 3 examples. Quality. It's basic. There's really not much to it. So I don't see paint chipping or anything. It'll take a beating. As for articulation, there's really very, very little. You can make his legs move up and down. There's no articulation in the knees, nothing in the wrists, single articulation in the elbows, and you can turn his head. I don't even know if there's a waist. There isn't even a waist swivel. Wait, is there? I don't think there's. But this is what they look like. So overall, I mean, easy pickup. Walmart, Target will have them for sure. Definitely get it if you're a Hulk fan. It's relatively cheap. Now, I am going to have another topic to talk about because I enjoy doing this. Alright, so today's new topic that I got from yesterday is going to be dealing with if you're ever embarrassed of being a collector. Was there ever a time in your life where you're like, man, I don't want to be judged for liking the things I like? Was there ever a phase in your life where you stopped collecting because you thought it wasn't cool? I've definitely gone through that. I think it's different today's standards because in the late 2000s now, superheroes are more well known in the public eye. I think the MCU and the DCEU have really, made all these characters in the forefront of just pop culture in itself. I think they've gone above and beyond what anybody in the 90s thought superheroes would become in the mainstream. So now any, woman that wouldn't necessarily like read comics or be interested knows the names of these characters and the actors and have seen the movies and liked the movies. So I think it was a little bit different in the earlier years, say like mid 90s when I grew up, because not many people knew about it. 90s had, cartoon series like Spider-Man, the animated series, Batman, the animated series. They had the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, X-Men. And that was like the cream of the crop, the most popular, and I think personally the best renditions of those, characters in cartoon form. But even given that, I don't think it was popular enough to where the everyday kid or even a lot of adults would have any interest in those characters. So an 11-year-old me, even into my teen years and late teen years, I had a really, decent sized action figure collection of those specific cartoons. I was obsessed with X-Men, the animated series, Spider-Man, the animated series, Batman. I thought those were fantastic, like absolutely amazing cartoons, which they are. I think cartoons today still don't even hold up to those. So I amassed a pretty decent collection of Uncanny X-Men and Spider-Man, and I'd have it similar to how I am. I've always been this way since I was young. I've always set up collections and had them all neatly organized. I was such a little dork at 11 years old, but I love it, and I loved it then. But I went through a phase where I was getting into girls, and girls would come around the house and play outside, and then when they'd come in and want to be in the room, for whatever reason, I would just be ungodly embarrassed. So I'd block them out of the room. I wouldn't let them come in. I remember literally barricading my door, sitting down, having 3 girls behind the door, trying to push the door in to get into my room. And they just want to play and stuff, but in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, I can't let them see the figures. So then you go through other phases when you're younger, 13, 14, 15, 16, you're into I was into wrestling and other things and sports. But it's not that I grew out of it. I always still loved it, but I thought it wasn't cool enough to have anymore. So I had probably, 500 figures at the time at 14, 15. And I gave them all to my little nephew, who is this ADHD kid that destroyed everything. And I knew deep down, if I give this whole tub of all these figures, play sets, I had the Spider-Man playset, I had all that stuff, and that it would get destroyed. And lo and behold, I went to their house a year later, and the toys were just absolutely annihilated. Didn't give 2 craps about them. For me, they were barely played with. They were in mint condition, but that's just different strokes for different folks. But deep down, I was hurt. I was sad as a kid. I wish I held on to them. You can find those figures for, you know, fairly decent prices now, still in the box and stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Back then, like, you didn't know if you had the Holy Grail or if they were going to be worth something. But anyway, even Spawn figures. I had Spawn figures in the box and stuff, like all the original series stuff, the Spawn alleyway, all of that was just destroyed. So, deep down, even still hurts my soul. But again, like most collectors, I think there comes a time where you get older and then the nostalgia comes back and you're just like, man, I wish I still had this stuff. And you think back to your childhood toys, and, you know, a lot of adults my age, you know, want to find those things again. So we go hunting and go online and try to piece together those collections. And there's a resurgence where maybe, you know, it's not that uncool anymore to collect. And there was the stigma of like the 40-year-old virgin movie, where like there's this guy who doesn't have like any like relationships, and he, you know, collects his action figures, and he's like, you know, not socially normal. He's very awkward, and there's a stigma who anybody who, you know, collected that stuff, had that type of personality, was an absolute like nerd and was very socially awkward, which isn't the case. But in today's standards, with the acceptance of the movies, I think it's a little bit easier for people to get into collecting stuff like this. But again, you know, even me as an adult, and the size of my collection, and, you know, the love that I put into this and how much I care about it, there still is a little part of me that, like, you know, meeting a new person coming into my life, or, you know, my wife's like family members coming in and seeing it for the first time, like there's always that thing in the back of your head where, like, you know, what are they actually really, like, deep down going to be thinking about, like, a collection when they walk around and see this? It's obviously going to be overwhelming. They're obviously not used to seeing something of like this size and like this type of dedication. And they ask a lot of questions. So when they do see it, they're like, okay, so why do you like Hulk? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And I have to sit there and explain to them. And, you know, some of them get it. Like, more of the guys will be like, okay, like, I get it. Like, if you're a fan, I know this is the type of thing that some guys do. And the girls are, you know, obviously the wives of, like, in the family, like, stop by, and they're definitely a little bit more, like, shocked and, you know, don't really know what to say. And I could tell, like, deep down they're like, wow, like, this is like crazy. But, you know, should I care? Should that be something that bothers me? Should, you know, if I, you know, meet new people and introduce them to the collection, should they, you know, should I be upset or, like, deep down sad that, you know, they might be judging me? I don't know. Like, that's something that I've always battled with. I'm not sure if you have collections and if you've gone through similar situations. I'm not sure your age, if you're, like, younger, if you have your collection. Like, do you have friends around? Is it cool today compared to, like, the early 90s? Like, trying to have a collection like this? Is it easier to do? I know with gaming and that type of stuff and streaming, it's easier. But as for, like, actual collectibles, like, especially superhero collectibles, I wonder, like, how it is for kids today. But if you have a collection, like, tell me, have you ever gone through similar like circumstances, situations? Next thing, do you have, you know, a girlfriend or wife? You know, that dynamic is a whole different, like, situation, because you have, you know, like, say I'm single and I do this, and then I'm like, okay, you know, in my mind, I have this collection, I love it, this is what I love. But how hard is that battle going to be to find somebody who thinks it's cool, who understands me and is accepting of it? I bet you it's significantly harder to find a relationship when you have something like this. I was fortunate enough to be with my wife for a very long time, and she grew up, like, with me as I grew and as the collection grew, and she supported me throughout the entire thing. But I imagine for people who don't have relationships, it's a little bit harder. Or how cool would it be to find somebody that feels the same way you do and loves the same things you do? And you could do it together. You know, that's the ultimate goal for anybody, to find a partner that is extremely accepting of you and does the same things you do. You know, I'm not that fortunate to where she likes the same things I like and does the same things I do, but she's accepting of it at least, so that I have that going for me. But it'd be really cool to find somebody who loved the same things you did, and where you can share it. As long as you're in the relationship together and you love each other and you stick by each other forever. Because when you don't, and you get divorced or whatever, the person who loves the same things you love, that is a freaking battle. I couldn't even imagine going through that and trying to like divvy up like your collection with somebody who likes it as much as you do. So I would never get divorced, and I would never go through that situation, but I'm lucky in that sense, where I think like if that ever did happen, I think I would still have my collection. Also, you know, does the collection mean as much when you don't have other things in your life that you love? So when you have a supportive family, supportive friends, you know, a really like happy life, that makes you able to like things and care about things that are not necessarily super important to your life. But you know, like if I ever like lost family, or you know, grew apart from my wife, would I love the same things I love? Would I still appreciate this collection as much as I do? Would I, because I'm down in life, would I not want the collection anymore? Like, I would like not to think so. But that's another question to ask yourself. Like, how important is this to you? Is this something you do just for fun? Is it ingrained in every part of your fiber? Like, are you so obsessed that the collection is like, you know, like an actual part of your life? Like, I always wondered that, like how people see and view those situations. It's another question to ask yourself. Like, you know, if you really spend all this money and all this time and effort and grow a collection like this, you know, are you nuts? Like, is it actually worth it? Are you gonna keep it forever? You know, for me personally, I'm going to, you know, stick with this. This is something I really love. It's been a passion of mine, and if and when the time comes where it won't be a passion anymore, or maybe like, I don't know if I ever really feel that way, will I let it go? But I know that if anything does happen to me, or if a time comes where I think it is right to let go of it, it is going to my children. So my daughter and son will both, you know, I'm not sure if my son's going to keep the collection, or if they're going to tally up and buy houses with it, or whatever they're going to do. But you know, essentially it's going to be theirs, like in the long run. But 20-year-old me wouldn't be saying that. But you know, as you get older, and if and when you ever have children, your whole mindset and things kind of like change over time, to where you're more giving and accepting of, you know, letting go of things for the betterment of the people that you love in your life. But again, I thought this was a fun topic. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, another long one, but you know, I enjoy doing these things and it's fun. And if you enjoy me rambling, I hope you appreciate the effort that I'm putting in, and I'll keep coming up with different topics. But that's the end of the video for today. Smash that like button. You know, subscribe if you like my content. I'll be doing it daily. And I will see you in the next one. All right. Have a good one. Peace.